Oh, hi, everybody. Boom. Yes. Pre-show reminder of my Pro Wrestling Tees page. Visit ProWrestlingTees.com/TheJCMoney. That's THEJCMONEY, one word. And you can choose from an assortment of different shirts, different available t-shirts that I have that are centered around my professional wrestling career, but as well as some for the podcasting. There's an original JC Money Show logo shirt that's on there, available for you. There's a Gear Network logo shirt, and of course, the wide variety of all of the different shirts that I have had made for me recently, up to and including the Red Wings inspired logo, the Amerks inspired logo, the Jets inspired logo, and more to come. Of course, when you make a purchase, that directly supports this cause, supports me, supports my venture, and as well as part of ProWrestlingTees.com, if you know of any other pro wrestlers, mainstream or otherwise, you can actually search for them too within the same order, buy shirts for myself and another wrestler, and you'll be supporting both of us at the same time. How groovy is that? They've got t-shirts, they've got tank tops, they've got v-necks, they've got hoodies, all that, a bunch of different choices for you. You can choose it at the checkout and then have it shipped to you within 7 to 10 business days. It's great. It's ProWrestlingTees.com/TheJCMoney. Get your shirt today.
GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I'm JC Money.
Coming to you live from the Gear Network studios in Rochester, New York. This is the JC Money Show with your host, John Cimino, a.k.a. JC Money. And now, here's John.
Happy post-WrestleMania, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the JC Money Show here on the Gear Radio Network. How is it going, everybody? Nice to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in to this podcast. We are presented by the Pro Wrestling Tees store. Again, as you heard earlier on, ProWrestlingTees.com/the JC Money. I will never get that. I am JC Money is where you'll find me on social media platforms. On today's show, just going to do a quick one here, a little recap of WrestleMania 40. Yes, I did watch it cover to cover. I will admit, though, that as is part of WrestleMania, it's a very long event, and we all know that. We've all grown accustomed to that, I think, over the course of time. It became so long that it's now spread out into a 2-day event here. And that was great because, I mean... It was getting to a point where WrestleMania was like 8 hours long, and it was very, very difficult to stay up through the whole thing. Now, I didn't stay awake through the whole thing this time either. I'm a little older than I was last year, and of course in all of my previous WrestleMania years. But I did manage to get through the bulk of the matches, and with very limited times where I either was asleep or walked away. I will say. I much preferred night 2 over night 1. I did not. Night 1 seemed like it was competing against Collision, if you will, whereas night 2 seemed a bit more like WrestleMania. It had more of the WrestleMania vibe, and maybe the weather factored into that too. It could have been that the weather, as Michael Cole told us repeatedly over the course of the entire program, the weather was not really up to par with how cold it was on Saturday night, but Sunday looked like it was a better show. So real quick, let's go ahead. Let's recap night 1. I'll give the results and then talk about really quickly some of the things I took away. On night 1, Rhea Ripley defeated Becky Lynch to retain the Women's World Championship. The match went about exactly the way I expected it to go. I did enjoy the finish there with Rhea's doing her finisher into the turnbuckle, and then again, immediately right after the ground, pinning Becky Lynch, Becky doing the business. I think it's a real good thing. Rhea Ripley on an incredible roller coaster ride. A-Town Down Under, the team of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller walked out with the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and the Awesome Truth, the Miz and R-Truth, walked out with the Raw Tag Team Champions. They've been trying to figure out ways to unify those titles, those tag team titles. They've now done that. It was the smartest way to do it. I think they probably could have gotten away with doing something like that in the Roman Reigns era if they wanted to, not create a new world title and, but live and learn. But either way, I'm anticipating within the next week or two we will see different tag team championships. I don't know that they're going to be referred to as the Raw tag team titles and the SmackDown tag team titles anymore. I think they'll go and kind of follow suit with what they did with the world title and the women's championship, and just refer to that as the World Tag Team Champions and the WWE Tag Team Champions. If history says anything, that's probably what's going to happen. Rey Mysterio and Andrade of the LWO defeated Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio in a tag team match. Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso, only the third time in WrestleMania history that Blood Brothers wrestled each other on the event. Bret and Owen WrestleMania 10. You had Matt and Jeff in WrestleMania, I think it was 25. And then now you had Jimmy and Jay here at WrestleMania 40. Main event, Jey Uso defeated Jimmy Uso by pinfall. Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi defeated Damage Control in a 6-woman tag team match. It was Jade Cargill's first. Extends Bianca Belair's undefeated WrestleMania streak now, I think, to 2 or 3 now. 3-0. So I don't know if that's the goal or that's the plan, but something to look at there. And also, incidentally, the three of them at the post-show scrum, where the media was asking them questions, they were absolutely hilarious to watch. All three of them together. I laughed quite loudly at that. Gunther's 666 day as Intercontinental day reign as Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion ended at the hands of Sami Zayn. That match, honestly, it was, to me as a fan, I understand why they a lot of people were hoping for Chad Gable, but even still, they treated Sami Zayn pretty well. The fans still love Sami Zayn. He's very over. I think this is well deserved. If it wasn't going to be Chad Gable to break Gunther's record, I'm glad it was Sami Zayn after everything that he's done. He's been a very, very big part of WWE programming for the last 3 years. WrestleMania 2 years ago, WrestleMania 38, he had the match with when he was doing he was still Conspiracy Sammy, and had the match against Johnny Knoxville, which went over like way better than everybody expected it to. And because of that, that's what kind of propelled him into the Bloodline thing, and he got that over way more than I think anyone expected, which, if you follow Sammy for a long time, that it wasn't unexpected to those that really followed him and really knew. But just the fact that he's been such a main player on there, and was the guy that was called upon to end the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship reign, I think was pretty cool. Congratulations, though, to Gunther for redefining what the Intercontinental title means. It's always been one of my favorite championships ever. The Intercontinental Championship was always my favorite title. Bret Hart had it, Savage had it, Steamboat had it, Michaels had it, Austin had it briefly, and it's just all the greats had that championship. It just and it was so beautiful. It was always my favorite looking championship, the old school title. When Cody Rhodes had it years back, he actually changed it from the old oval Attitude Era one and brought back the original 1980s version that Reg Parks made, which, is still my favorite one to date. Although I do like the current version that Sami Zayn now has. But either way, congrats to Gunther. It was a hell of a run. And then in the main event of night one, the Bloodline, which consisted of The Rock and Roman Reigns, defeated Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins by pinfall. Again, that felt like even though it was WrestleMania and even though it was The Rock, it felt like a SmackDown or maybe like a Backlash or something, like, one of the smaller PLE events. Honestly, that's the way that it felt. But night two had a completely different vibe, I felt. Everything seemed like much more fluid, and the weather was a little warmer. It was 60 degrees going in there, but still, it just, the vibe seemed a little better. So night two results: Drew McIntyre defeated Seth Rollins to win the World Heavyweight Championship, and in a moment that looked like It was Drew McIntyre's moment that he had been waiting for, that he wanted to have, that is longing to have. He finally got it. He even got the direct shout out from Rollins there and was like, Rollins was like, dude, you deserve it. You deserve it. You did the thing. You deserve it. And so that was, pretty cool to see. But then Drew McIntyre turned his attention to CM Punk. And I do kind of enjoy the fact that they have made that the focal point of this whole story with Drew McIntyre and how he treats the CM Punk situation and being, Punk still being a part of WWE, even though he's injured, he's not doing anything. They're building to that Drew McIntyre CM Punk match. And I really like what they did and how they did it without having Drew lose. They had him win the title. They had him have his moment. They had him do his thing. And then kind of apropos for what's, his story has been going, like Drew's biggest enemy in this story seems to be himself. And, I love the fact that they had him take his attention away to his CM Punk, obsession, that he didn't see Damian Priest come out of the cut, and Priest runs out after Punk had attacked Drew McIntyre. Priest runs out, cashes in the Money in the Bank, hits Drew McIntyre in the head with the briefcase, throws him in the ring, gets in, hits him with the South of Heaven, I think is the name of his version of the choke slam. 1, 2, 3. That ends match 2. Damian Priest in 9 seconds defeats Drew McIntyre to become the World Heavyweight Championship, World Heavyweight Champion. Only the third in this new era of World Heavyweight Champions, since they are not tying the lineage of the original one to this one here. Damian Priest is the third WWE World Heavyweight Champion, arguably in the Triple H era, as they were trying to sell to us during the program. The Pride, which is a team comprised of Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits with B-Fab, managed by B-Fab, defeated the Final Testament, which was Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain, whom had Scarlett and Paul Ellering with them. Believe it or not, Paul Ellering making only his third in 40. Believe it or not, the manager, Paul Ellering, legendary manager, 80s, Road Warriors, 90s, even into the early 2000s, or excuse me, the mid 2000s. He, started making a bit more appearances. And then I think it was the mid 2010s, the late 2010s was when he started managing the Authors of Pain. And then I think he went away for the COVID a little bit, but he was very, very big championship winning manager in the 1980s with the Road Warriors. So legendary, Hall of Famer. And in WrestleMania, this is only his third appearance. Crazy to think, right? It may even only have been a second appearance. I can't remember. I think he appeared once with the Legion of Doom in WrestleMania 8. And I don't remember if he was part of the Disciples of Apocalypse at that point yet. Because I know he managed them briefly, the DOA, when they were doing the gang wars, them, the Boricuas, and the Nation. But I can't remember if he came out there. But then obviously he came out this one, and so interesting. 40 years. He's only been there WrestleMania 2 or 3 times. Legend, though. And that's crazy. LA Knight defeated AJ Styles by pinfall. That, I think, is going to propel LA Knight into the Money in the Bank event, or the King and Queen event in Saudi Arabia. Not sure how they're going to do that one, but I feel like it's one or the other going to be for LA Knight, King of the Ring, or Money in the Bank. Get him back in that title picture. Start utilizing his being over. I almost wonder, and I'll touch upon this after I talk about the main event here, but I almost wonder if he will be the hero in next year's WrestleMania story, but who knows? Logan Paul defeated Kevin Owens and Randy Orton to retain the WWE United States Championship. Honestly, very good match. Enjoyed the beginning. Enjoyed the entrance with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton riding to the ring in that golf cart together. I thought it was hilarious. Logan Paul is a gamer, man. Logan Paul is I like him. I do. I think, the fact that he didn't behave or treat wrestling like, some celebrities do when they come in and they're like, oh, well, I'm who I am and that's it. Like, no, Logan Paul actually treats the business with respect, and I think that has earned him a lot of respect with a lot of people that are wrestling fans that would otherwise be like, oh, Logan Paul, whatever, he's not our guy, whatever. No, he comes in, he absorbs everything like a sponge, puts on good matches, and genuinely really likes and loves the wrestling business. So how can you or anyone hate that? I know I don't. Great match. Logan Paul retains the championship. Bayley defeated Io Sky to win the WWE Women's Championship in the co-main event there at the very end. And then Cody Rhodes finally finished his story. And I wrote a blog about that. Those of you on my Patreon page, you can see the blog on when this all started, and everybody was like, thinking that, Cody was getting hosed, and I wrote a blog right on that Patreon page, $2 a month if you just want the blogs. But talking about, hey, kind of, why don't you hold off on that a little bit? Let the story play out. And boy, did they let the story play out. And let me tell you something, that match was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of Roman Reigns' work in this entire title reign. I know a lot of mainstream wrestling fans are kind of like, oh, well, he didn't do this, or he didn't wrestle every single month or every single show or whatever. He got to a point where he was working a part-time schedule, but in the same, you know what? It was really good to see. And then when Cody got the pin and just you saw the emotion out of everybody. Samantha Irvin, the ring announcer, was crying when she announced the winner, and Michael Cole had tears in his eyes. They kind of came out. The roster came out. A lot of people that had issues with the bloodline put them on the shoulders, kind of like the WrestleMania 10 entrance. Or if you go back even further, NWA style, when Dusty Rhodes in 1981 won the World Heavyweight Championship from Ric Flair, had him on his shoulders too. So I think a lot of that kind of tied together. But overall, Cody Rhodes, the first member of the Rhodes family dynasty to win the WWE Championship, the main WWE Championship. Dusty Rhodes never had it. Goldust never had it. Goldust had the Intercontinental title, the tag titles. And up until yesterday, Cody Rhodes had the Intercontinental title, had the tag title. He might have had a U.S. title in there too. I'm not sure. But now he's the man. He's been anointed. He's the guy going forward. And to be honest, and I said this, and I called my shot this on my friends, the Closed Fist, their podcast, on their Facebook page. I actually said, and I believe, that while Cody Rhodes was the hero of this story, WrestleMania 39 into WrestleMania 40, call it a hunch, but I would not be surprised if Cody Rhodes ended up being the villain of next year's WrestleMania. You talk about who is going to be the one that people really care, that people care to see go on and challenge. And it's always when it gets to WrestleMania season, that's when you start seeing the big matches, the big plans, the big things, the big this, the big that. I'm thinking ahead now and logically looking that far ahead. Who could that spot be for? If Cody Rhodes is the villain in someone else's story for WrestleMania 41 as champion, who would be the hero? Would it be Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso? Would that be when he finally gets there? Because he's a star. They made him a star throughout this bloodline process. LA Knight came out of nowhere. Now he's there. Drew McIntyre can really get back into the picture now. Yeah, as I feel, Priest is probably going to turn babyface. They've been kind of teasing Damian Priest as a babyface for a while, but I feel like that's where they're going to go with it, at least until McIntyre comes back from his time off and maybe defeats Priest to take the title, and then maybe that goes into a Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud when Punk is ready to come back and the title is at stake there. Something like that. It could be anything like that. It could be CM Punk himself. It could be CM Punk and Cody Rhodes next WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. It could be Roman Reigns. Although I'm thinking Roman Reigns and The Rock is probably going to be what's headlining, one of the headlines of WrestleMania 41. I don't think even though the title reign of Roman Reigns ended, I don't think that's the end of the Bloodline story. I think this is going to go until WrestleMania 41, where we see Rock Roman at 41. I really think that's where we're going. Also, incidentally, The Rock's run this go around has been fantastic. I've been a major fan. It's been a long time since I've talked wrestling on a podcast. The old Talking Wrestling series comes to mind. But I guess with Gear being 10 now, this actually is a very apropos to have a wrestling talk show today on this edition of the JC Money Show. Really quickly, before we go ahead and call it a podcast, inside of 30 minutes still, so great there. Upstate Pro Wrestling, my hometown fed, where I am affiliated with, has 2 shows coming up. Friday, April 19th, Center Court, Grease Ridge Mall, from 5 to 7 p.m. It is Mall-a-Mania, UPW Mall-a-Mania there. Several matches on the card right now. You can visit Upstate Pro Wrestling's Facebook page or upstateprowrestling.com for more details, ticket information for that. And then as well, the big one for Upstate, Anniversary Anarchy 21. Saturday, May 11th, 2024 at the FCWA Arena at Marketplace Mall. UPW comes of age. Last year was all about turning 20 and everything that went with that. It was a great time. And Anniversary Anarchy 21. It's gonna be a good time as well. I highly encourage everybody. Do please make those plans. Show on up. Again, upstateprowrestling.com. You can find ticket information and everything on there. And who knows, maybe if I stick to a podcast cadence like I want to, but never do because I'm so daggum busy being JC Money. But maybe just maybe I might consider giving away some free tickets. But until that point, I will let you know, and thanks for tuning in. Thank you all, Patreon listeners. Enjoy the commercial freeness that was. Again, patreon.com/IamJCMoney. There's 3 different tiers on there. $2 a month get you the blogs. You get to read all the blogs that I have. Nice, easy way to support the show. $3 a month, you upgrade one more, you get the blogs, and you get all of the podcasts that I'm on, completely commercial free. If you go even higher, go tier 2, you're going to get some special podcasts that are only specific to that tier, and very likely gives the juicy, nitty gritty details on people that I don't like, and I know don't like me. And also just some other random shit that I throw on there too. But anywho, that was the first swear, I think. Oh, all right. Well, anywho, thanks again for tuning in. Again, subscribe wherever you are. If you are not doing the Patreon, please do the subscribe. That helps us too. ProWrestlingTees.com/IamJCMoney or the JC Money. I'll never get that right. So long, everybody. Good night now. Flava Flav, how about a yeah, boy, for Mania?
Yeah, boy!
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.